The Unfolding Tapestry: India's Climate Challenge. My name is AMT, and I invite you to journey with me across one of the most vibrant, diverse, and increasingly vulnerable landscapes on our planet, India. Here, ancient traditions meet the relentless pace of modernity, and the delicate balance of nature faces an unprecedented test. The very air, the life-giving waters, and the fertile soils that have sustained civilizations for millennia are now undergoing a profound transformation, a shift that touches every corner of this vast subcontinent and every life within it. The signs are all around us, sometimes subtle, often stark, painting a picture of a future that demands our immediate and unwavering attention. Climate change in India is a critical issue with far-reaching implications for the country's environment, economy, and population. Let's explore how climate change is affecting India. We shall delve into the intricate web of cause and effect, observing how rising temperatures, erratic monsoons, and advancing seas are reshaping not just the physical contours of the land, but also the lives and livelihoods of its people. This is not merely a story of scientific data or policy debates. It is a human story, a story of resilience, adaptation, and the urgent quest for solutions in the face of a global phenomenon. Our exploration will take us from the majestic ice-crowned Himalayas to the sun-drenched coastal plains, from bustling metropolises to remote rural communities. We will witness the ingenuity of those striving to adapt and the immense challenges that lie ahead. Understanding this complex interplay is crucial, for the fate of India's extraordinary natural heritage and its billion-plus inhabitants is inextricably linked to the choices we make today. Join me as we seek to comprehend the scale of this challenge and the path towards a more sustainable coexistence. The shifting climate to India's new environmental reality. The Indian subcontinent, a land of staggering geographical diversity, is currently experiencing climatic shifts of profound significance. One of the most palpable and widely documented of these is the inexorable rise in ambient temperatures. Across the length and breadth of this nation, from the arid deserts of Rajasthan to the humid Gangetic plains, thermometers are charting a consistent upward trend. This isn't merely a matter of warmer summers, it's a fundamental alteration of the thermal regime that has governed life here for eons, forcing ecosystems and human societies alike to grapple with conditions previously unrecorded in human memory. These rising temperatures manifest in increasingly frequent and intense heat waves, particularly during the pre-monsoon months. Cities with their vast expanses of concrete and asphalt transform into urban heat islands, amplifying the stress on their inhabitants. The physiological toll on human beings is considerable, leading to heat exhaustion, heat stroke, and exacerbating pre-existing health conditions. But the impact extends far beyond human discomfort. It scorches agricultural lands, reduces water availability through increased evaporation, and places immense strain on power grids as the demand for cooling skyrockets, a critical concern for a developing nation. The delicate choreography of the Indian monsoon, the lifeblood of the subcontinent's agriculture and water security, is also being disrupted. For centuries, farmers have timed their planting seasons to the predictable arrival of these seasonal rains. Now, however, this predictability is waning. We observe patterns of increased variability. Some years bring torrential downpours concentrated in short, destructive bursts, leading to widespread flooding, while others are marked by prolonged dry spells and crippling droughts, devastating crops and depleting reservoirs, a truly challenging prospect for millions. This erratic behavior of the monsoon has far-reaching consequences. Intense rainfall overwhelms natural drainage systems and poorly prepared urban infrastructure, causing flash floods that displace communities and destroy property. Conversely, deficient monsoons lead to acute water scarcity, impacting not only agriculture but also drinking water supplies and industrial activities. The rhythm of life, so intrinsically tied to these rains, is thrown into disarray, forcing a desperate search for adaptation strategies in a land where water has always been a precious and, at times, contentious resource. Further south, along India's extensive coastline, another silent but relentless change is underway. The gradual rise of sea levels, fueled by thermal expansion of ocean waters and the melting of glaciers and ice sheets globally, the oceans are encroaching upon the land. For a country with over 7,500 kilometers of coastline, dotted with major cities, vital ports, and densely populated low-lying areas, this presents an existential threat. The Sundarbans Delta, a unique mangrove ecosystem and home to the Royal Bengal tiger, is particularly vulnerable, facing inundation and increased salinity. The implications of sea level rise are manifold. Coastal erosion nibbles away at precious land, forcing communities to retreat. Saltwater intrusion contaminates freshwater aquifers, rendering them unusable for drinking or irrigation, a devastating blow to coastal agriculture. Increased coastal flooding during storms and high tides becomes more frequent and severe, threatening infrastructure and livelihoods. The very existence of some low-lying islands and coastal villages hangs in the balance, raising complex questions about displacement, resettlement, and the loss of cultural heritage for countless communities. The Himalayan glaciers, often referred to as the Third Pole, are retreating at an alarming rate. These magnificent rivers of ice are the source of many of Asia's major rivers, including the Ganges, Brahmaputra, and Indus, which sustain hundreds of millions of people downstream. As these glaciers shrink, the long-term water security of northern India is jeopardized. Initially, an increase in meltwater might be observed, but this is a temporary phase, soon to be followed by significantly reduced river flows, especially during the crucial dry season. The loss of glacial mass also increases the risk of glacial lake outburst floods, GLOFs. As glaciers melt, they can form large, unstable lakes, dammed by moraine debris. These dams can breach suddenly, releasing enormous volumes of water and debris downstream, with catastrophic consequences. The intricate ecological balance of the high-altitude Himalayan region, home to unique flora and fauna, is also profoundly disturbed by these rapid changes, pushing many species towards an uncertain future. These interconnected trends, rising temperatures, altered rainfall, and advancing seas, are not isolated phenomena. They interact and amplify each other, creating a complex cascade of impacts across the Indian landscape. For instance, higher temperatures can exacerbate drought conditions, while altered monsoon patterns can influence the intensity of coastal storm surges. Understanding these compound effects is crucial for developing effective and holistic adaptation and mitigation strategies for the nation. The scientific consensus is clear. These changes are predominantly driven by anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions. The Earth's climate system is responding to centuries of industrial activity and land use change. For India, a nation striving for economic development while simultaneously being highly vulnerable to climate impacts, this presents a formidable challenge. The path forward requires not only acknowledging these trends, but also committing to decisive action, both domestically and as part of the global community, to safeguard its future. The human and ecological toll. India's deepening vulnerabilities. The agricultural sector, the backbone of the Indian economy and the source of livelihood for nearly half its population, finds itself at the forefront of the climate crisis. Changes in temperature and rainfall patterns directly influence crop yields and food production. Traditional farming practices, honed over generations to suit specific climatic conditions, are becoming increasingly unreliable. Wheat and rice, staple crops for millions, are particularly sensitive to heat stress during critical growth stages, leading to reduced harvests and threatening national food security in profound ways. The unpredictability of the monsoons further compounds the challenges faced by farmers. Delayed or deficient rains can lead to crop failure and necessitate costly re-sowing, while excessive rainfall can waterlog fields and destroy standing crops. Small and marginal farmers, who constitute the majority of India's farming community, often lack the resources to cope with such weather-related losses, pushing them deeper into debt and distress. The very fabric of rural life, so intimately woven with the rhythms of agriculture, is being stretched to its limits. Water resources, already under immense pressure from a burgeoning population and increasing demand, are facing a dual assault from climate change. The accelerated melting of Himalayan glaciers, as we've seen, threatens the long-term stability of river flows in northern India. These rivers are crucial not only for irrigation but also for drinking water, industrial use and hydropower generation. A decline in their perennial flow would have cascading negative impacts across multiple sectors, affecting millions of lives and livelihoods. Simultaneously, changes in rainfall patterns are affecting groundwater recharge. More intense but shorter bursts of rain can lead to increased surface runoff, reducing the amount of water percolating into aquifers. Groundwater, which is a critical source of irrigation and drinking water, especially in arid and semi-arid regions, is being depleted at an alarming rate in many parts of the country. This over-extraction, exacerbated by climate change, is leading to falling water tables and a growing water crisis for communities reliant on this hidden resource. The health of India's population is also intrinsically linked to the changing climate. Rising temperatures contribute to an increased incidence of heat-related illnesses, such as heat stroke and dehydration, particularly among vulnerable groups like the elderly, children, and outdoor workers. The urban poor, often living in densely packed settlements with inadequate ventilation and access to cooling, are disproportionately affected by these extreme heat events, highlighting the social inequities of climate impacts. Furthermore, climate change is altering the geographic range and seasonality of vector-borne diseases. Mosquitoes, ticks, and other disease carriers are sensitive to temperature and humidity. Warmer and wetter conditions in some areas can create more favorable breeding grounds for these vectors, leading to an increased risk of diseases like malaria, dengue, chikungunya, and Japanese encephalitis. Waterborne diseases can also become more prevalent due to flooding and contamination of water sources, posing a significant public health challenge. The frequency and intensity of natural disasters are demonstrably on the rise across India. Coastal regions are bracing for more powerful cyclones fueled by warmer ocean temperatures. These storms bring with them devastating winds, torrential rain, and life-threatening storm surges, causing widespread destruction of homes, infrastructure, and livelihoods. The Sundarbans, Odisha, and Andhra Pradesh have repeatedly witnessed the fury of these intensified weather systems, each event leaving a scar on the landscape and its people. Inland, erratic rainfall patterns contribute to both severe floods and prolonged droughts. Flash floods, often triggered by cloudbursts in mountainous regions or intense downpours in plains, can cause immense damage and loss of life. Conversely, extended periods of deficient rainfall lead to drought conditions, impacting agriculture, water availability, and leading to fodder scarcity for livestock. Landslides, often exacerbated by heavy rainfall on deforested slopes, also pose a significant threat in hilly and mountainous terrains, disrupting lives and connectivity. The rich biodiversity of India, one of the world's mega-diverse countries, is also under severe threat. Ecosystems from the high-altitude Himalayas to the coastal mangroves and the Western Ghats are struggling to adapt to the rapid pace of climate change. Species are facing habitat loss, changes in food availability, and altered breeding patterns. The intricate balance of these ecosystems, which provide essential services like pollination, water purification, and carbon sequestration, is being disrupted with potentially irreversible consequences. Coral reefs, the vibrant underwater cities of the ocean, are experiencing widespread bleaching due to rising sea temperatures. Mangrove forests, crucial coastal defenses, and fish nurseries are threatened by sea level rise and increased storm intensity. Forest ecosystems are vulnerable to changes in temperature and rainfall, as well as an increased risk of forest fires. The loss of this natural heritage is not just an ecological tragedy, but also impacts communities that depend directly on these resources for their survival and cultural identity. Chapter 3: National Endeavours, India's Blueprint for Climate Action. Recognizing the profound and multifaceted threat posed by climate change, India has embarked on a series of ambitious policy initiatives and mitigation efforts. At the forefront of these is the National Action Plan on Climate Change, launched in 2008. This comprehensive framework outlines 8 national missions, each targeting a specific area critical to addressing climate change. These missions cover a wide spectrum, from solar energy and enhanced energy efficiency to sustainable habitats, water management, and preserving the Himalayan ecosystem. The National Solar Mission, perhaps one of the most prominent components of the NAPCC, aims to establish India as a global leader in solar energy. It has set ambitious targets for solar power generation, leading to a remarkable surge in installed capacity across the country. Vast solar parks now dot the landscape, particularly in sun-rich states like Rajasthan and Gujarat. contributing significantly to India's renewable energy portfolio and reducing its reliance on fossil fuels, a crucial step towards a cleaner energy future. The National Mission for Enhanced Energy Efficiency focuses on improving energy efficiency in industries, appliances, and buildings. Through innovative mechanisms like Perform, Achieve and Trade, it encourages large energy-intensive industries to reduce their specific energy consumption. This not only curtails greenhouse gas emissions but also enhances industrial competitiveness and reduces the overall energy demand of a rapidly growing economy, a vital component of sustainable development. Complementing the national framework, state action plans on climate change have been developed by individual states and union territories. These plans are crucial for translating national goals into context-specific, localized actions. Given India's vast geographical and socio-economic diversity, these state-level strategies allow for tailored approaches that address unique vulnerabilities and leverage regional strengths. They empower local governments and communities to participate actively in climate solutions, fostering a more inclusive and effective response. On the international stage, India has been an active participant in global climate negotiations and has made significant commitments. As a signatory to the Paris Agreement, India has submitted its nationally determined contributions, which outline its targets for emission intensity reduction, increasing the share of non-fossil fuel-based power generation capacity and creating an additional carbon sink through afforestation. These commitments underscore India's resolve to contribute to the global effort to limit warming. A cornerstone of India's mitigation strategy is its aggressive push towards renewable energy. Beyond solar, there is a significant focus on wind power, with large wind farms harnessing a natural resource that is abundant in many parts of the country. The government has implemented various policies and incentives to attract investment in the renewable sector, including feed-in tariffs, generation-based incentives, and renewable purchase obligations. This concerted effort is rapidly transforming India's energy landscape. The National Mission on Sustainable Habitat aims to make cities more climate resilient and sustainable. This includes promoting energy efficiency in buildings, better urban planning, improved management of solid and liquid waste, and promoting sustainable transport systems. As India continues to urbanize rapidly, ensuring that its cities grow in an environmentally sound manner is critical for mitigating emissions and adapting to climate impacts, a challenge of immense proportions. The National Water Mission focuses on integrated water resource management to conserve water, minimize wastage, and ensure more equitable distribution. It promotes strategies like rainwater harvesting, aquifer recharge, and improving water use efficiency in agriculture and industry. Given the increasing water stress exacerbated by climate change, this mission is vital for safeguarding India's water security and ensuring the availability of this precious resource for future generations. The National Mission for a Green India aims to enhance forest cover and improve the quality of existing forests, thereby increasing carbon sequestration. Afforestation and reforestation programs are being implemented across the country, involving local communities in plantation and forest management. These efforts not only contribute to climate mitigation, but also help conserve biodiversity, protect watersheds, and provide livelihood opportunities for forest-dependent communities. Despite these commendable efforts, the scale of the challenge remains immense. The transition to a low-carbon economy requires sustained political will, substantial financial investment, technological innovation, and active participation from all sections of society. India's journey towards climate resilience and sustainable development is a complex and ongoing process, one that will define its trajectory in the 21st century and beyond, demanding continuous adaptation and innovation. Chapter 4: The Steep Ascent: Overcoming India's Climate Conundrums. Despite considerable strides in policy and action, India grapples with formidable challenges in its quest to address the climate crisis effectively. One of the most significant hurdles is its high dependency on coal for energy generation. Coal currently fuels a substantial portion of India's electricity needs, underpinning its industrial growth and providing employment to a large workforce. Transitioning away from this entrenched fossil fuel while ensuring energy security and managing the socio-economic consequences for coal-dependent regions presents a complex and politically sensitive dilemma. The sheer scale of India's energy demand, driven by a growing population and an expanding economy, further complicates this transition. While renewable energy capacity is increasing rapidly, it must not only meet new demand but also progressively replace existing coal-based power. This requires massive investments in renewable generation, grid infrastructure, and energy storage solutions to ensure a reliable and affordable power supply for all citizens, a monumental task for any nation. Poverty and vulnerability remain deeply intertwined with climate change impacts in India. A significant portion of the population, particularly in rural areas and urban slums, lives with limited resources and has a low adaptive capacity. These marginalized communities are often the most exposed to climate risks such as floods, droughts, and heat waves, yet they possess the fewest means to cope with the losses and damages. Addressing climate change, therefore, necessitates a strong focus on equity and climate justice. The livelihoods of millions, especially in agriculture, fisheries, and forestry, are directly dependent on climate-sensitive natural resources. When these resources are degraded by climate change, it disproportionately affects the poorest households, potentially trapping them in a vicious cycle of poverty and environmental vulnerability. Effective adaptation strategies must, therefore, prioritize the needs of these vulnerable groups, enhancing their resilience and providing alternative livelihood options where necessary. Rapid and often unplanned urbanization poses another set of complex challenges. As people migrate from rural areas to cities in search of opportunities, urban centers are expanding at an unprecedented rate. This places immense strain on existing infrastructure, including water supply, sanitation, housing, and transportation. Many cities are ill-equipped to handle the additional pressures of climate change, such as increased flooding due to overwhelmed drainage systems or a more pronounced urban heat island effect. The concentration of population and economic assets in urban areas, particularly in coastal cities, increases their vulnerability to climate-related disasters. Developing climate-resilient urban infrastructure and integrated urban planning strategies is crucial, but this requires significant financial resources, technical capacity, and effective governance. Retrofitting existing urban areas to be more resilient is an even more daunting task, demanding innovative solutions and long-term commitment. Access to finance and technology remains a critical bottleneck for scaling up climate action. While India has made substantial domestic investments, the sheer magnitude of the resources required for mitigation and adaptation far exceeds national capacities. International climate finance, as pledged by developed countries, needs to be significantly enhanced and made more accessible to support developing nations like India in their climate efforts. Technology transfer and collaborative research are also vital for deploying cutting-edge climate solutions. Institutional capacity and coordination across various levels of government and different sectors can also be challenging. Effective climate action requires a whole-of-government approach with strong interministerial coordination and collaboration between central, state, and local authorities. Building the capacity of local institutions and empowering communities to participate in decision-making processes are essential for ensuring that climate actions are context-specific, equitable, and sustainable. Public awareness and understanding of climate change issues, while growing, still need to be deepened and broadened. For climate policies and actions to be truly effective, they need to be supported by an informed and engaged citizenry. Overcoming misinformation and fostering a sense of shared responsibility are crucial for mobilizing collective action at all levels, from individual lifestyle choices to community-led initiatives and advocacy for stronger policy measures. Finally, balancing development imperatives with environmental sustainability is an ongoing tightrope walk. India has legitimate aspirations for economic growth and poverty reduction. The challenge lies in pursuing a development pathway that is both inclusive and low carbon, decoupling economic progress from environmental degradation. This requires a paradigm shift in thinking, innovative policymaking, and a long-term vision for a prosperous and climate-resilient India, a vision that future generations can inherit with pride. To Chapter 5, Charting a Resilient Path. Strategies for a Sustainable Indian Future. To navigate the complex challenges of climate change, India must vigorously pursue a multi-pronged approach centered on adaptation, mitigation, and heightened awareness. Adaptation strategies are paramount for protecting vulnerable communities and ecosystems from the unavoidable impacts of a warming world. This involves developing and deploying climate-resilient agricultural practices, such as cultivating drought-resistant crop varieties, promoting efficient irrigation techniques like drip and sprinkler systems, and diversifying farming systems to reduce reliance on single crops. Water resource management requires urgent attention. Strengthening integrated water management plans, investing in rainwater harvesting structures at both community and household levels, and promoting the rejuvenation of traditional water bodies can significantly enhance water security. Furthermore, developing robust early warning systems for floods, droughts, and cyclones, coupled with effective disaster preparedness and response mechanisms, can save lives and reduce economic losses, empowering communities to face these increasing threats. Coastal zone management is another critical area for adaptation. This includes protecting and restoring natural coastal defenses like mangroves and coral reefs, which act as buffers against storm surges and erosion. Where necessary, constructing engineered coastal protection structures, such as seawalls and embankments, may be required alongside developing and implementing plans for phased relocation of highly vulnerable coastal communities, a sensitive but increasingly necessary consideration. Mitigation efforts must continue with accelerated vigor, focusing on decarbonizing the economy. This means an even greater push for renewable energy sources, going beyond current targets for solar and wind, and exploring the potential of other renewables like biomass and small hydro. Enhancing energy efficiency across all sectors, industry, transport, buildings and appliances, remains a cost-effective way to reduce emissions and energy demand simultaneously, offering a win-win scenario. The transport sector, a significant and growing contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, requires a major transformation. This involves promoting a shift towards public transportation, investing in electric mobility infrastructure, including charging stations and battery manufacturing, and improving fuel efficiency standards for conventional vehicles. Sustainable urban planning that encourages non-motorized transport, such as cycling and walking, can also play a crucial role in creating greener, healthier cities. Afforestation and reforestation programs, as outlined in the Green India Mission, must be scaled up and implemented effectively, ensuring the participation of local communities and focusing on planting native species. Protecting existing forests from degradation and deforestation is equally, if not more, important. Sustainable land management practices that enhance soil carbon sequestration can also contribute significantly to mitigation efforts while improving agricultural productivity. The importance of awareness and education cannot be overstated. Fostering a deeper understanding of climate change, its impacts, and the available solutions among the general public, policymakers, and the private sector is essential for driving meaningful action. Educational institutions have a key role to play in integrating climate change into curricula at all levels. Media and civil society organizations can help disseminate accurate information and mobilize public opinion. Community involvement and citizen participation are vital for the success of any climate action plan. Empowering local communities to identify their vulnerabilities and develop their own adaptation strategies can lead to more effective and sustainable outcomes. Traditional knowledge and local practices, often rich in wisdom about coping with environmental variability, should be respected and integrated with scientific approaches, creating a powerful synergy. International cooperation, including access to finance, technology transfer, and collaborative research, remains indispensable. India must continue to engage proactively in global climate negotiations, advocating for equitable and ambitious global action, while also showcasing its own efforts and achievements. Sharing best practices and learning from the experiences of other countries can accelerate the transition to a climate-resilient and low-carbon future. Ultimately, addressing climate change in India is not just an environmental issue. It is a developmental imperative, a moral obligation, and an opportunity to build a more sustainable, equitable, and prosperous future. It requires a collective will, sustained effort, and a shared vision where human progress and ecological integrity go hand in hand, ensuring that the diverse tapestry of life in India can continue to thrive for generations to come. Outro: A Shared Horizon, India's journey towards climate resilience. Our journey through the intricate landscape of India's climate crisis reveals a challenge of immense proportions, yet also a nation stirring with resolve and ingenuity. We have witnessed the stark realities of rising temperatures, erratic monsoons and encroaching seas, and the profound impacts these changes are having on lives, livelihoods, and the delicate balance of nature. From the farmer tending his parched fields to the coastal dweller facing the rising tide, the human dimension of this crisis is undeniable and deeply moving. However, amidst these challenges, we have also seen the seeds of hope. India's commitment to renewable energy, its national and state-level action plans, and the growing awareness among its people signal a determined effort to forge a different path. The task ahead is monumental, requiring a concerted effort from governments, industries, communities, and individuals alike. Addressing climate change in India requires urgent and collective action. By understanding the challenges and implementing effective solutions, we can work towards a sustainable future for all. The choices made in the coming years will not only shape India's destiny, but will also have significant implications for the global climate. It is a responsibility that calls for wisdom, courage, and a shared commitment to protect this extraordinary land and its people. The path to a climate-resilient India is one of innovation, collaboration, and an unwavering belief in our collective capacity to adapt and thrive, ensuring that the vibrant ecosystems and diverse cultures of this ancient land can endure for centuries yet to come.